Welcome, foolish mortals, back to Mishwa Crochet. I'm your ghost host, Miss Bree, and let's get into this. First things first, welcome back to Mishwa Crochet, or if you're new here, welcome. So last week, my video went out, and it was everything that's inside the Haunted Mansion crochet kit, and I was really happy with it. So this week I went ahead and did the two projects that came with it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Before we get into like my pros and cons and all that stuff, let me just tell you my expectations. When I get one of these kits, I know typically the yarn isn't great. So that's not something I'm necessarily looking for when I get it. Something I look for though, and I actually forgot to include this last week, is did they give me a good tapestry needle? Because I just find that a lot of the kits will cheap out. The kits will give you a plastic one, which drives me crazy because it's just, they're not good. They bend or they break, and it's a bad situation. Now this one I forgot to mention last week. Yes, it does include a metal tapestry needle. It was a little one though, so if you have difficulty going ahead and stringing your needle onto the yarn, if you have a hard time with that, you might have an extra hard time with this because the needle is on the smaller side. When I go into these kits, accuracy is important to me. I don't have really high expectations when it comes to the quality of the pattern, because a lot of times they're just not great and you have to kind of figure things out on your own. I never recommend these for absolute beginners because, in my opinion, most of them are not going to teach you how to crochet. They're in the book, they're going to show you some stuff and they're like, oh, this is how you do it. If you're the kind of learner that you can pick up from a mixture of pictures and words, maybe you'd be okay. But typically, in my opinion, I just don't think it's the best way to learn. Just my personal opinion. If you're a learner and you learn that way, I think that's fabulous. It's not for me, and so I can't recommend it. So, because I recommend things that are, for me, or I'll tell you, well, somebody else for this reason, maybe, you would like it. But I recommend things that are for me, typically. So, let's get into this. Another thing I also look for is if there's enough of all the supplies. If all the supplies that they say are there are in there. Now, this box right here, you can see it clearly says includes everything to make Madame Leota and stretching painting scene. Now, I'm really hitting that word scene because the scene is what they're saying. Not to me, when I'm reading that, I'm expecting that there's going to be everything for the painting scene. It should be everything. The stick should be there, the wire should be there, Miss Sally Slater here, it should be everything she needs for her scene. So we'll go ahead, we're going to get into that one pretty quick here, because everything is not everything. Also, with Madame Leota, I didn't expect to get this whole table she's sitting on and all that, but to me, if it's everything to make her, I kind of almost expected there to be something to put her inside of, some kind of fake globe. Because the other thing about that is, it may not be easy to find something that actually works, which I found something, and I'll show you. My husband came up with a great idea, and I'm going to show you that. First things first, I'm going to show you kind of what's left over. First thing, I had enough yarn to make Madame Leota and the trapeze girl, Miss Sally Slater there. This is what I had left. And I did have plenty of yarn to do the painting and everything from the painting scene, and for Madame Leota I had plenty. And I even had some stuff left over. So here's what I was talking about. Yes, there's a metal needle. As you can see, it doesn't have a very big eye on it. There was even a little bit of wiring left. A lot of stuffing left. Plenty of the fluff. Now, just to throw this out here, because if you watch Katie's Celestial Homebody, I've thought of her husband, because she said has said before, her husband doesn't like cotton balls. This is the consistency of cotton balls. So it kind of made me like think of him because he can't stand it. So, I mean, I had plenty of this green left. I mean, let me just kind of hold it up. I mean, you can see there's a fair amount. I mean, plenty of this white. This was the glow in the dark white that was left. Plenty of like the pink that was for her face. And I mean, and there's like some random pieces and scraps here. Now, here's something I want to show you. And I'm not surprised by this. Here's the hook. As you can see, it is no longer straight. I ended up having to switch. I was most of the way through the stretching room scene, but I couldn't go on because every time I was making a stitch, it was bending. Like the hook wasn't great quality. So I ended up having to pull out a hook in order to finish the project. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, I couldn't find in my, all of my, I've got a bin of crochet hooks that I've collected over the years. I couldn't find a 2.5 in there to save my life. And I don't feel like a 2.5 is like that crazy. So I did have to finish the project using like a 3mm because I found that. But yeah, like you can see, and then no matter how much you're bending it, you're not going to get it perfectly straight again, and it's not going to hold. So that was definitely a bummer. But it's kind of typical for these kits. This kit, though, I will say, there's some of the typical things I find, like the yarn was the quality I kind of expected. It was nice to have the glow-in-the-dark yarn, though, and that was, I think, a little better quality than some of the other stuff. The other stuff kind of had like a lot of halo, and I had a lot of splitting, especially when you're trying to work with like a little hook. So the yarn itself was pretty much what I expected. It's the scratchy, not the best quality yarn. I did have a couple people reach out to me and ask me like what was the recommended yarn. Typically in these patterns, it just tells you like worsted weight, like a weight for worsted weight. There wasn't necessarily specifically like a type of yarn. I do believe that I saw, I can't recall 100% what it was, but I do believe I saw like one reference to like Red Heart, but most of the things just say like weighted yarn. So a weight form yarn. So those are things to be aware of, that, you know, there's a chance your hook might break, it might stretch. Just, you know, kind of throwing it out there for what it's worth. I'm trying to remember, I want to say it was the glow in the dark yarn. I'm trying to look real quick. Yes. So the only one I really saw, because I have not done all the patterns. I've done what I've told you. So in the Madame Leota pattern, it specifically says Red Heart Super Saver, blue and royal blue, and then it says glow yarn. So, I mean, that one specifies, but like, Sally Slater here, it does not say. It doesn't say specifically. It just says medium worsted weight, size 4 yarn. So I hope that helps a little bit. Now let me show you how it actually came out, and then I'm going to tell you, you know, I got a couple of gripes. So let me just gently bring this over here. Now, all the yarn was there for Sally Slater here. Oh, she's losing her skirt. I forgot to sew her skirt onto her, and then by the time I realized it, like, I was like, it's going to be a pain, and I'm just going to scooch it into place and leave it. So anyway, swoop. Let's try that again. So everything was there for her and the alligator, but they recommend that you use sticks and, you know, wire, yarn, and like I had this brown is left over from the project, like from her hair, and this was something I ended up having to add. So basically you have the yarn to make it, you have the wires to hold her up and stuff, and for her legs, and the wire for her parasol, but you had, like, I had to, you know, my husband actually, I should say, went out and bought these dowels that are in here. This plastic is something he got from work, and it's kind of like that kind of pebbly looking, so it kind of reminds me of water, so that worked out really well. But yeah, it doesn't actually come with everything to complete the scene. It comes with the yarn to crochet the things for the scene, but it doesn't actually come with everything for the scene. But I think that this came out very well. I'm very happy with how it came out. I'm happy with how it came out, but I had to add my own materials to actually complete the scene. So, like I said, this is how, you know, I ended up, we added the dowels, this wire was something we had around, and then this plastic here. I'm going to set this aside now. And let me pull out the book just so you have a better understanding of what I'm saying here. It'll just take me a moment to find it. Yeah. And this is how they show it in the book. So mine is similar. Mine has like the entire platform. Mine sits up higher. It's similar. But you need these chopsticks. I want to say you needed the wire. Yeah, because there wouldn't have been enough wire to do the trapeze across. We had to add our own wire, and that wasn't just because mine's bigger. But yes, the fact is you can't actually complete the scene without having these added things. So that's something to know going into it. So as for, remember Madame Leota, there's supposed to be everything also. Let me show you how Madame Leota came out. So this is how my Madame Leota came out. And this is what theirs looks like. I actually think mine looks more like Madame Leota, and I think it looks a little better. So I have a couple gripes with this, a couple things I really enjoyed. Now I like that there was 2 different colors of yarn, so there's gave a little bit more than just, you know, blue hair to her. I like that they actually included glow in the dark yarn. I appreciate those things for sure, but this plastic container she's in to make it look like, you know, she's in a crystal ball, we had to add that. Now, I wonder if you could guess what this actually is. And this is what it looks like. Do you have a guess as to what it is? Let me tell you, my husband came up with this idea and it was brilliant. This is actually a hummingbird feeder. So we had gone to, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but sometimes Dollar General has these penny deals. And so this was one of the random things we got in the penny deals. And so he went ahead and he cut the bottom part off, where you'd have here's the flowers. So the flowers and this part actually were together, and then this was the globe. So what we did was we cut the very bottom of the globe off, you know, where the little end would be, that would screw into this. That is actually inside, if you kind of look closely. Madame Leota is actually glued, her little head here is glued to that. It was flipped upside down and glued into this base where you'd put the hummingbird food. And then, so she's glued onto there. This is the main part. And it's just funny because my husband's like, well, I think this looks like a good spot to cut it so she'll fit into there. And it actually was funny because it all just kind of fit exactly together. So this is the only piece we didn't use from it because, like I said, the bottom of the bottle is cut, inverted, and then boom, this is kind of how it ended up. I think this worked out really well. Now, it's really hard to show actually it glowing in the dark, and I tried last night to kind of get a good picture, but she just wasn't glowing that well. But I had her inside of the box. I had all the pieces put into the box, and so she probably had already done her glowing inside the box. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that came out. Like I said though, I do have a gripe of, I wish they could have included something in it, because it was a bit of a struggle to actually find something that her little head would fit in, and I think this worked out really well. I think if you look at this, you're a Disney fan, you've seen Haunted Mansion, you're going to look at this and be like, oh yeah, I get it, Madame Leota. It came out well. Here's my other little gripe. I wish her hair was longer. They suggested 5-inch pieces to, make her hair. And I personally, if I was going to redo this, I would have probably done 7 or 8-inch pieces, and then I would have just cut it down if need be, because as far as I'm concerned, I think it looks fine, it looks okay, but I would like if her hair was longer. Just, that's a personal preference thing. I mean, the one in the picture here, it's hard to tell because of like, it's kind of like, I don't know, AI floofed. But I wish her hair was a little longer. So, but yeah, I think that for the most part, this is a kit that I can get behind. It's one that I would recommend because, like I said, I had plenty of supplies. You just going into it, I wish that they weren't telling you that it's everything to complete Madame Leota in the stretching room, because the stretching room scene, because there are a few things that you have to actually get to complete those things. So I'm very pleased with it. I actually think in the future I would like to make I'd like to do the alligator again, and I think I'd like to get like blanket yarn, and because I mean that would make him a lot bigger. But I just like, I think the alligator, the way that they did it, I think he's really cute. And you know, I'm an alligator girly, so but yeah, I'm very pleased with this. I definitely would recommend it to somebody, especially if you really like Haunted Mansion, you like Disney. I can't speak for all the patterns. I can only speak for the ones that I did. And, you know, they were easy enough to follow. Even, let me bring it back over here for a second. Even old Sally Slater's skirt over here. Like, I'm not like, I don't know anything about embroidery, really. Like, it's not my strong suit. And I think even the way that they recommended doing the little green and the green bits with the little red dot, I think that was good too. So yeah, I'm pleased with this. I would definitely recommend it. I can't think of anything else that I haven't mentioned. So, but yeah, thumbs up for me. I would recommend it. If you have purchased this and made anything, like, let me know. Oh, I know, before I go ahead and wrap this up, I do know that some people were asking me like recommendations for colors and for yarns. Honestly, I would just shop your stash, because like most everything in here, I mean, are like basic colors. Let me just open it up real quick here so I can like look at all the characters. I know there's a page in here that has everybody. At least I thought there was. Okay, there isn't. Look, let me grab the box here instead. Okay, so I know that somebody was asking like color recommendations and yarn recommendations. Honestly, I would just use what's in your stash, because a lot of these are basic colors, like a light green and a dark green and a pink, and a darker green for accent colors. I mean, these I would just use, you know, whatever blue you've got, a lighter blue and a darker blue. I mean, people are going to get the gist of it. The dog, you know, whatever yellow you've got. I mean, these are all like pretty basic colors. I mean, I think even if something is a shade or, you know, a shade or two, like light or dark or whatever, I think that, you know, it's your art, it's your creativity, and I think you use what you like. Because like, I'm definitely thinking I'm gonna get some like blanket yarn and try to make an alligator, because I really think the alligator is cute and well done, and I kind of wonder how big he would come out in blanket yarn. I mean, I'm thinking a good amount bigger. He's not that big to start though, but it'd be pretty cool to make him like in a blanket yarn, something bigger. But yeah, I don't have any like hard recommendations on yarn or yarn colors to use. I say use what you've got, because all these projects are pretty small, and I don't think you need to go out and buy a bunch of yarn in order to make them, because a lot of things, you know, are just little bits. I mean, if you're gonna make, oh, Sally Slater here, like that little bit of green, there's no sense going out and buying that. You probably got something in your stash, even if it's a lighter color or darker color. You just need green and some form of like red. I mean, the parasol, I mean, a nice skin tone. So, I mean, to me, shop your stash and something like that, because who wants to go out and spend a bunch of extra money? Not me. Anyways, thank you so much if you've made it this far. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave me a comment on who's your favorite Disney character, because I'm kind of curious, and I love crocheting Disney. I just love Disney in general, but definitely crocheting Disney. So, until next time, take care.